This evening, I have authorised British Armed Forces to conduct coordinated and targeted strikes to degrade the Syrian regime's chemical weapons capability and deter their use. We are acting together with our American and French allies.
My fellow Americans, a short time ago, I ordered the United States Armed Forces to launch precision strikes on targets associated with the chemical weapons capabilities of Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad.
It's my fear that in view of the direction in which things are moving today, the political and economic dynamics of the countries of the world may lead to a world war.
Today, slogans are raised of the world being more civilized than before. But is this really true? The lust of materialism has eaten into the soul and fiber of human nature, and this is increasing day by day. The course of the history of the world has never before seen a similar pace of advancement as has been witnessed in the last century. All this advancement has resulted in is a desire for more. In today's materialistic world, this greed is growing so rapidly that it appears too fast to handle, and could eventually lead the world to destruction. The Creator of the universe has always provided a practical way of establishing harmony among nations. 1400 years ago, God spoke through his messenger, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and revealed the key to establishing a harmonious environment. This same message was relayed by the awaited Messiah. Today, the world is being jolted again through the words of the supreme head of the worldwide Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, about the catastrophe the world will see if it is not just in its dealings.
I will, God willing, always continue to carry out my task and my responsibilities of promoting peace, tolerance, justice, and compassion to the corners of the world.
This voice has reached the public. It has reached ministers and parliamentarians. It has reached the leaders of the world. These words have been conveyed through letters to those who can make a change. This has all been done to deliver one message, to unite humanity and bring everyone to the one and only pathway to peace.
We find anxiety and turmoil continue to spread and increase in the world. We find so much strife, restlessness and disorder. We find countries engaged in wars. Terrorist groups, political parties, major powers of the world, all consumed by their efforts to maintain or acquire supremacy and leaving no stone unturned in their efforts towards pursuing their objectives. With all these hostilities engulfing the entire world, we also find a grand solution. We find a serene voice, a voice of reasoning and logic, travelling across the world, forewarning that if these actions continue, then most surely the entire planet will succumb to a detrimental end.
If the major powers do not act with justice and do not eliminate the frustrations of smaller nations and do not adopt great and wise policies, then the situation will spiral out of all control, and the destruction that will follow is beyond our comprehension and imagination. A very senior Russian military commander issued a serious warning about the potential risk of a nuclear war. It was his view that such a war would not be fought in Asia or elsewhere, but would be fought on Europe's border, and that the threat might originate and ignite from Eastern European countries. Though some people will say that this was simply his personal opinion, I myself do not believe his views to be improbable. But in addition, I also believe that if such a war breaks out, then it is highly likely that Asian countries will also become involved.
Have these words of the Khalifa not been proven to be true to the letter? The crisis between Russia and Ukraine have brought back memories of the Cold War, with nearly 100 member states of the United Nations failing to recognize the control of Crimea by the Russian Federation. Is that not a repeat of the past? When the Arab Spring first came to pass, many people in the world considered it to be a great means for the Arab world to come out of the Dark Ages and embrace modern times. The reality was quite the contrary. Is the world going towards this devastation? Hundreds of thousands of innocent lives have been lost, especially in the Middle East. How many more will it take for mankind to take note of the Khalifa's message?
If we want to save the world, then true justice needs to be shown at every level of society, and the problems faced in each country should be solved in a fair way that removes frustrations. No country's wealth should be looked upon enviously, and mutual policies should be made to help one another. Most importantly, the world must realize that it has forgotten its Creator, and they must come back to Him. Only when this happens can true peace be established, and without this there can be no guarantee of peace. I have spoken many times previously about the horrific consequences of another global war, and perhaps it will only be after such a war that the world will come to realize the destructive results of the unjust policies that were made only to satisfy personal ambitions and vested interests. I hope and pray that the world comes to its senses before such a disaster comes to pass. I hope and pray that the world comes to recognize and accept its Creator. With these words, I seek your leave. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please sit.